Well, now at noon, a federal judge is staying on the bench despite an affair with a high-ranking police officer that investigators say included sex in chambers during business hours.
The judge in question initially denied it before later admitting to this relationship. Atlanta News First reporter Mary Kate Hamilton is live for us at the 11th Judicial Court. So Mary Kate, you've been looking over these documents. What can you tell us?
Well, the investigation says that hearing sexual activity between the federal judge and the high-ranking officer within these walls had a significant negative impact on multiple law clerks who heard it firsthand, and even those who didn't say it made for an uncomfortable work environment. All of the discussion amongst law clerks about this inappropriate relationship. And here's what else we know from these documents. The investigation dug into three main allegations: engaging in an extramarital affair with a high-ranking law enforcement officer and having sex in the judge's chambers during business hours within hearing distance of staff, attending a partisan political event, and making false statements to the chief circuit judge and chief district judge that were material to the investigation of the allegations. The judge initially said the accusation was, quote, outrageous and ridiculous, even suggesting that the clerk who reported it was retaliating for poor performance reviews. The investigation found that the relationship lasted from October 2023 to October 2025 and included at least 5 occasions where a clerk could hear sounds consistent with sexual contact, including sex, during the workday. The committee also found the judge attended a partisan campaign event for a district attorney. Claims of general staff mistreatment were reviewed, but the committee did not find behavior it considered abusive. And the last misconduct finding was for lying during the investigation. Ultimately, Judge Pryor ordered that the judge's identity remain private and remain on the bench. Judge Pryor cited the judge's eventual admission to the affair, the judge's decision to end the affair and commit to avoiding partisan political events, and the judge's, quote, exemplary service to the court. Now, the Atlanta Police Department also released a statement to Atlanta News First. They say that they, too, are launching an investigation into whether that high-ranking officer was employed by APD or is currently employed by APD. We will, of course, have the latest throughout the day as we continue to follow this story. For now, live in downtown Atlanta, Mary Kate Hamilton, Atlanta News First.